I really feel strongly that some major social problems throughout this world. I mean, Skinner wanted us to, speaking of here, I mean, he wanted us to go beyond autism.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He wanted us to solve a lot of problems. And what could be a bigger problem than mass school shootings in the United States?
The Surgeon General and the CDC, the only thing that the two of them recommend as a treatment for autism is ABA. That there's nothing else that's on there, okay? The whole CDC. How come it's still like we're begging people that this is the best treatment?
I can tell you why, I think. I mean, Tyler saw all the posts. I was ostracized heavily and chastised by a few people on social media just because I said we should open up our science to try to understand why shootings occur, mass school shootings. I got attacked by a few people, and all I did was suggest that we do functional behavior assessments on individuals that do end up having mass shooting episodes, and then I suggested that we take the police and have them communicate with school personnel to look at these common patterns that I saw a lot of common patterns in posts that people make before they engage in a mass shooting. And I just suggested that the field researches it further. So I think I understand why the science is kind of closed that way, because I got attacked heavily. I really feel strongly that some major social problems throughout this world. I mean, Skinner wanted us to, speaking of here, I mean, he wanted us to go beyond autism.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He wanted us to solve a lot of problems. And what could be a bigger problem than mass school shootings in the United States? I mean, I don't know. It keeps me up at night, and not a lot does. Just because you can't see electricity doesn't mean it's not there. So I just don't understand why there's so much hype about trying to understand private events and the causal effects.
I was fortunate enough to go to Pat Fryman's recent conference at Rider University, and he talked about really knowing your audience and using appropriate verbal behavior by your audience. And he talks about how behavior students today have failed to be bilingual in terms of reaching out to the masses. So,
Good way of putting it.
right. Unfortunately, the school today really have taught us, right, to be really technical, using technical language and so forth. But I think the misstep has been that they really haven't taught us to use both technical and non-technical language with our audience.
That's right.
And that's really the hard part, right? So if we want people to embrace our science, we need to talk their language in simple terms so that they can really understand our science. But if we're using behavior analytic terms like extinction, chaining, and so forth, they're going to have their own misconceptions in terms of what our science is about. So I think to move forward, I think we really need to consider what Pat Fryman said in terms of really knowing our audience and using appropriate verbal.
I love that, being bilingual. I could say a topographically distant response class member, but, or, like when I speak that way, I get really, when I speak in regular terms, in layperson's terms, and just common English, I get criticized for being rough around the edges.